Shalom, I'm Ezra Solomon. You're chasing favor in all the wrong places, networking, impressing people, building your image. Meanwhile, your character repels the very opportunities you desperately seek. Today, I'm revealing the ancient Jewish principle of Chen that makes favor flow naturally when you stop chasing it and start building yourself. Let me destroy the comfortable lie you've been living. You think favor comes from who you know, how you present yourself, or how well you network. You've read the books, you've perfected your elevator pitch, you attend the events, you optimize your LinkedIn profile. You're exhausting yourself trying to impress the right people, and it's not working. Here's why. People can smell desperation. They can sense when you're transactional. Every conversation you have, you're calculating. What can I get from this person? How can they help me? What impression am I making? This energy doesn't attract favor. It repels it. I've worked with dozens of people stuck in this trap. They're working incredibly hard on their external presentation while remaining fundamentally weak on the inside. No daily discipline, no consistent character, no internal strength. Just a polished facade covering a foundation of sand. Modern personal branding advice has convinced you that favor is a marketing problem. Get the right image, say the right things, be seen in the right places. It's all external, all performance, all manipulation. The Torah teaches something radically different about Chen, the Hebrew word for favor or grace. Chen isn't something you chase, it's not a tactic. It's not a strategy you deploy. Chen is a natural byproduct of who you are when no one's watching. In Jewish wisdom, favor flows to those who have built internal strength through discipline. It radiates from people who have gevurah, strength of character forged through daily practice and self-mastery. When you're internally ordered, externally disciplined, and morally clear, people are instinctively drawn to you. Not because you're trying to attract them, because strength attracts naturally. Here's what you need to understand. Humans have incredibly sophisticated social sensors. We've evolved to detect authenticity, trustworthiness, and internal stability in others. When you're genuinely disciplined and internally strong, you emit signals that bypass conscious analysis. People feel safe around you. They trust you. They want to work with you, they recommend you, they open doors for you, not because you impressed them, because you're substantial. You've been working hard on the wrong thing. You've been polishing your image while your character deteriorates. You've been chasing favor while radiating the exact energy that repels it. Today, I'm showing you the ancient way, the way that actually works. In Hebrew, the word chen, han, means favor, grace, or attractiveness. It appears throughout Torah and Talmud, and it never means what modern culture thinks it means. Chen isn't charm. It's not charisma. It's not the ability to work a room or win people over with personality. Chen is the natural radiance that comes from a person of internal discipline and moral clarity. Pirkei Avot teaches, who is honored? One who honors others. But here's what you're missing. This isn't about flattery or social skills. The Hebrew understanding is deeper. One who honors themselves through disciplined living naturally honors others authentically. And this authenticity creates chen, natural favor that you don't have to force. Let me break down the principle component by component. Chen flows from gevurah, strength and discipline. When you master yourself through daily practice, when you consistently choose principle over comfort, when you keep your private commitments that no one else knows about, you develop internal order. This internal order manifests as confidence, clarity, and presence that others perceive immediately. Here's the psychological mechanism. Your nervous system reflects your internal state. When you're undisciplined, breaking promises to yourself, choosing comfort over growth, living without clear principles, your nervous system is dysregulated. This shows up as anxiety in your voice, uncertainty in your posture, neediness in your interactions. People read these signals unconsciously and pull away. But when you're internally disciplined, your nervous system regulates naturally. You're grounded, you're present, you're not grasping or performing because you're secure in yourself. This creates what psychologists call secure attachment energy. People feel safe around you because you're safe within yourself. The contrast is stark. Someone chasing favor radiates desperation. Please validate me. Please give me the opportunity. Please see my value. This energy pushes people away because it places a burden on them. Someone with Chen radiates self-respect. I know who I am. I'm building something real. I'm disciplined in my character. This energy attracts naturally because it asks nothing while offering substance. This isn't about being perfect. The ancient rabbis who taught Musar, the Jewish tradition of character refinement, were brutally honest about human struggle. You'll fail. You'll slip. You'll have days where discipline breaks down. Chen doesn't require perfection. It requires direction and consistency. What you practice daily becomes who you are fundamentally, and who you are fundamentally determines what you attract naturally. This is the ancient principle modern culture has completely lost. Let me tell you about Michael, 32 years old, smart guy, good education, stuck in middle management for 5 years, despite doing everything right to advance his career. Michael had read every networking book. He attended industry events 3 times a week. He had coffee meetings scheduled constantly. He'd perfected his personal story, his value proposition, his way of subtly steering conversations toward opportunities. He was working the system hard, and he was exhausted. More than that, he was confused, because despite all this effort, doors kept closing. Opportunities went to others. People were polite but non-committal. His calendar was full of networking activity, but nothing was converting. When he came to me, his frustration was obvious. Ezra, I'm doing everything the career coaches say. I'm visible. I'm networking. I'm positioning myself. Why isn't it working? I watched him for 30 seconds and saw the problem immediately. Michael was needy. Every interaction was transactional. Every conversation was calculated. He was a talented person, pretending to be interested in others while desperately broadcasting, "See my value, give me an opportunity, validate my worth." People weren't rejecting Michael because he lacked skills. They were pulling back because his energy was exhausting. He was always taking attention, taking time, taking emotional energy, while giving nothing substantial in return. Here's what I told him. You're doing everything backward. You're trying to attract favor while your character actively repels it. He didn't like that. He wanted tactics, not character feedback. But I pushed. Tell me about your daily discipline. Do you keep the promises you make to yourself? Do you have a consistent practice of self-examination? Do you do hard things when no one's watching? Silence, because Michael had none of that. He woke up whenever. He scrolled social media for an hour each morning. He skipped workouts when he didn't feel like it. He said he'd read but watched Netflix instead. His private life was completely undisciplined, and this showed up in every interaction. Not obviously, people couldn't articulate why they didn't want to help Michael, but they could feel something off. His lack of self-trust translated into a lack of trustworthiness. His internal chaos leaked out as social desperation. I explained, favor doesn't flow to people who need it desperately. Favor flows to people whose internal strength makes them naturally attractive. You're chasing externally what can only be built internally. Michael wanted to argue, but deep down he knew I was right. Here's the framework I gave Michael. The 3 pillars of character that naturally attract Chen. Favor that flows without you chasing it. Pillar 1, Yetzer Hatov dominance, mastering your good inclination. In Jewish teaching, every person has two inclinations, Yetzer Hara, the pull toward comfort and easy gratification, and Yetzer Hatov, the pull toward growth and principled action. Most people let Yetzer Hara win by default. They choose comfort over commitment constantly. Your first daily practice, choose discipline over comfort in small decisions throughout your day. When you don't want to work out, do it anyway. When you want to skip the hard task, do it first. When you committed to something small that no one will notice, keep that commitment especially. Each disciplined choice builds self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of confidence. When you trust yourself to follow through, others sense this reliability at a subconscious level. They perceive you as someone who honors commitments because you're someone who honors commitments to yourself. Pillar 2. Cheshbon Hanefesh, accounting of the soul. This is an ancient Musar practice, daily self-examination. Every evening you spend 10 minutes reviewing your day against your principles, not your accomplishments, your character choices. Did you keep your word today? Where did you choose comfort over growth? When did you speak truth versus when did you avoid discomfort? What small commitment did you break that no one knows about? This practice creates moral clarity. You become intimately familiar with your patterns, your weaknesses, your growth edges. This self-knowledge manifests as integrity. You know who you are, so you stop pretending to be something else. People are magnetically attracted to those who possess this kind of authentic self-knowledge. Pillar 3. Consistent action in private Chen comes from who you are when no one's watching. Your private discipline determines your public presence. The practice, identify the disciplines you do only for external validation and replace them with disciplines no one knows about. Work out at home instead of the trendy gym. Read substantive books instead of posting about reading. Build skills without announcing them. Keep your word to yourself on small things that earn you no social credit. This builds genuine substance, and substance can't be faked. It shows in your eyes, in how you carry yourself, in the groundedness of your presence. People feel it without knowing why. These 3 pillars, daily discipline choices, honest self-examination, and private integrity, create internal order that radiates as natural favor. Michael resisted this framework initially. He looked at me like I was crazy. Ezra, I need career advancement tactics, not character philosophy. How does examining my soul every night get me promoted? I was direct with him. Because your lack of character is exactly what's blocking the favor you're chasing. These practices will be harder than networking, and that's precisely why they work. He wasn't convinced, but he was desperate enough to try. I gave him a 30-day commitment, morning discipline decisions, evening Cheshbon Hanefesh, one private commitment no one would ever know about. Week 1 was brutal for Michael. He told me it felt like he was doing nothing productive, no networking events, no strategic coffee meetings, just keeping small commitments to himself that felt pointless, getting up at 6 a.m., working out, reading for 30 minutes, examining his day each evening. This feels like I'm making zero progress, he said. I told him, you're building the foundation that makes progress inevitable. Keep going. Week 3, something shifted. Michael noticed he felt more grounded in conversations, less grasping, less performing, just present. He wasn't sure why, but people responded differently. They seemed more engaged, more open. Month 2, his manager asked him to lead a project without Michael positioning for it. A former colleague called asking if he'd be interested in a role at another company. Neither came from his networking efforts. Both came through reputation he didn't realize he was building. Month 4, opportunities were flowing. But here's what Michael told me that proved he understood. Ezra, the opportunities matter less than how I feel. I'm not desperate anymore. I'm not performing. I actually respect myself for the first time in years because I keep my commitments. The external favor is nice, but the internal strength is what actually changed my life. 6 months in, Michael was promoted, not because he networked his way up, because his character had fundamentally changed. His energy in meetings was different, solid, trustworthy, confident without arrogance. People wanted him on their teams because his presence elevated the room. Same person, same skills, different character, completely different results. The favor he'd chased desperately for 5 years started flowing naturally once he stopped chasing it and started building himself. That's Chen. That's how this actually works, not through manipulation, through transformation. I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Ezra, this sounds great in theory, but I need results now. I have bills to pay. I have career pressure. I can't wait 6 months for some character transformation. Give me something that works immediately. I understand that pressure. I really do. The urgency feels real because it is real. You have actual constraints, actual needs, actual timelines. But here's the harder truth you need to hear. This exact impatience is what keeps you weak and repellent. When you're desperate for immediate results, people sense it. That desperation leaks into every interaction. Your body language communicates need. Your voice carries urgency. Your questions reveal calculation. And all of this makes people instinctively pull back, not because they're cruel, because desperation triggers distrust in human psychology. The Talmud teaches about planting trees whose fruit you may never eat yourself. Real growth requires long-term thinking. The ancient rabbis understood something modern culture has lost. Quick fixes create weak foundations, while patient building creates lasting strength. Here's the nuance you're missing. You will see early indicators within weeks. Michael noticed changes in week 3, more groundedness, better conversations, less anxiety. But the deep character transformation that naturally attracts lasting favor requires months of consistent daily practice. You've already spent years, maybe a decade, chasing favor the wrong way. How's that working? You're still here, still frustrated, still seeking the next tactic. What if you gave these ancient principles 90 days of honest practice? Not perfect practice, honest practice. 90 days of choosing discipline over comfort. 90 days of evening self-examination. 90 days of private integrity that no one validates. That's less time than you've already wasted on networking strategies that don't work. And here's what makes this different. These aren't my invented tactics. This is 3,000 years of tested Jewish wisdom about how character attracts blessing. The practice of musar, ethical discipline, has created people of extraordinary chen for millennia, not because it's easy, because it works. The question isn't whether this principle is true. The question is whether you're willing to do what's hard long enough to experience the transformation. Most people aren't. They want the favor without building the character. They want the blessing without the discipline. They want chen without gevura. But you're still watching, which means part of you knows the comfortable way isn't working. Part of you is ready to build something real. Here are the exact daily practices. Start tomorrow morning. No preparation needed. No perfect conditions required. Just begin. Morning practice. 10 minutes before your phone. Before you check messages, email, or social media, write 3 character commitments for the day. Not goals, not tasks. Character choices. Examples. Today I will keep my word in small things. Today I will choose the hard right over the easy wrong. Today I will speak truth even when uncomfortable. Today I will honor my commitments to myself before seeking others' approval. Write them by hand. Read them aloud. These become your measuring stick for the evening practice. Throughout the day, micro decisions as character training. Every small decision where you don't want to do what you committed to, that's your training moment. The workout you want to skip, the difficult conversation you want to avoid, the small promise you want to break because no one would notice. These moments matter more than the big ones. Character isn't built in dramatic situations. It's built in the thousand small choices where comfort battles discipline and you choose discipline anyway. Each time you keep a commitment you don't feel like keeping, you build self-trust. This self-trust becomes the foundation of the confidence others perceive as Chen. Evening practice, 10 minutes of Cheshbon Hanafesh. This is your accounting of the soul. Review each character commitment from the morning. Assess honestly, where did you keep your word? Acknowledge it without pride, just recognition. Where did you break commitments? Name it without excuse making. Not, I was too busy. That's an excuse. Say, I chose comfort over commitment. What pattern are you noticing? If you break your word in the same area repeatedly, that's your growth edge. That's where tomorrow's focus goes. Write brief notes, track patterns over weeks. The practice isn't about perfection, it's about honest self-knowledge. Weekly practice, strategic detachment. Identify one area where you're chasing favor desperately. Maybe it's a person whose approval you seek. Maybe it's an opportunity you're forcing. Maybe it's validation you're craving. Practice detachment for 30 days. Stop chasing it. Stop performing for it. Stop checking if it's happening. Focus entirely on your character practices instead. This creates space for natural favor to flow while breaking your addiction to external validation. These practices build musar, ethical discipline, internal order, gevura, strength, and strength naturally attracts Chen, not because of tactics, because of transformation. Let me bring this together. Chen, favor, grace, natural attraction, doesn't come from networking tactics, personal branding strategies, or image management. It flows naturally from disciplined character built through consistent daily practice. You've been exhausting yourself working on the wrong things, polishing your presentation while your character deteriorates, chasing opportunities externally while repelling them with internal weakness, trying to impress others while you don't even respect yourself. The ancient Jewish wisdom is clear: build internal strength through discipline, and external favor flows naturally. Master your Yetzer Hatov through daily choices. Practice Cheshbon Hanafesh to develop moral clarity. Honor your private commitments to build genuine substance. This creates the Chen that can't be faked and doesn't need to be forced. Here are your 3 immediate action steps starting tomorrow morning. First, write your 3 character commitments each morning before touching your phone. Make them specific, measurable, and about who you're becoming, not what you're achieving. Second, implement the evening Cheshbon Hanafesh practice. 10 minutes of honest self-accounting. Track patterns over weeks. Build the self-knowledge that manifests as integrity. Third, identify the one area where you're chasing favor most desperately and practice detachment for 30 days. Stop forcing, stop performing, focus on character instead. Now I want you to engage. Tell me in the comments, what's the one area where you've been chasing favor instead of building character? Your career, a relationship, social validation. Be specific, be honest. This is where your transformation begins. I'm challenging you to 30 days of these practices, not perfect execution, honest practice. 30 days of choosing discipline over comfort, examining yourself honestly each evening, and building strength no one sees. Watch how your presence changes. Watch how people start responding differently. Watch how opportunities begin flowing instead of being forced. If this confronted something in you, if this challenged you to stop chasing and start building, subscribe, because next week I'm teaching about Bitachon, the ancient Jewish principle of inner security that makes you completely unshakable, regardless of external circumstances. Here's your final challenge. Stop trying to be impressive. Start becoming substantial. Stop chasing favor. Start building character. The Chen you seek will follow the Gevura you build. This is the ancient way. This is the way that actually works. Shalom.